Hello, Melissa.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Hi, Deanna. Welcome.
Good morning, how are you?
Doing well today. What are you up to today, you guys?
I am currently sorting bills.
Okay. That's not fun.
Mm-mm.
I'm just catching up on home stuff.
Okay. Going to go, are you showing any properties this weekend or doing any open houses?
I have a townhouse tomorrow up in Denver that I'm showing somebody.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It'll be my first showing.
What office are you at, Deanna?
Foothills.
Okay, that's what I thought. And Melissa, you're
Conifer, yeah.
Conifer? Okay, that's what I thought. We'll wait a few minutes. It seems like Saturdays are hard for people to get going. While we're waiting, you guys have any questions on anything? No? Run across anything that you'd not sure of? No? Well, that's good.
Well, I have a question, but it's probably too long to answer and I need to call Jody about it today. But I have a mutual friend that has a house that's going into foreclosure.
Mhm.
And he's called to make sure he can sell it, and he can.
Mhm.
So I guess I just, what are the first steps I need to do?
Well, man, it's hard to believe in this market. How long have they owned the house?
For
You
a
know.
really long time. So
And they-
it was his parents' house and they both passed away.
Uh-huh.
And he basically has been kind of a mess ever since and hasn't been paying the mortgage. So
Okay,
it doesn't,
it's, and now is he on the deed?
yes.
Okay. Does the house have a lot of equity? Do you know?
Well, the house is kind of a mess, so it's, kind of trashed. He only owes, he owes less than 200,000 on it.
And even in the poor condition it's in, what do you think it's worth?
Well, I don't know. I guess,
You haven't seen
how
it?
do I?
I would go,
see.
yeah, what you want to do is go over there and take a look at it and then just try to come up with an idea of what you think it might be worth, because there's a very good chance with the market we've had over the last, especially 5 years, that he might be able to get it sold and pay off the mortgage and still walk away with some money. That happened a lot to us, when people were over mortgaged and we had a lot of short sales because their house was worth less than what they owed. We were still able to get that accomplished, but man, it would be hard to imagine. Where is the house? Is it up in the mountains or down
Yeah,
here?
it's in Pine.
Okay. And I mean, low end, I can't imagine, unless it's just a tiny shack or something, but I can't imagine it's worth much less than 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It's about 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. It has a detached garage. It's a little over an acre.
Wow. Yeah, I've got to believe that he can probably get it sold before it gets into foreclosure and go from there. Now they've obviously started the process with the public trustee, but very good chance you could get that thing sold, especially to investors. And even if he breaks even, that's better than walking away and losing everything. And
Yeah.
so
Absolutely.
the first step I'd say is get over there as soon as possible and get an idea of what you think it's worth.
Okay.
Okay. And then,
All right.
visit with Kevin. Because
Okay.
Kevin was around when we had foreclosures. Yeah, it's sad to see, but I got to imagine that he can get out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Good.
Okay. Thanks.
All right. Jeff, Lisa, thank you guys for joining. Did you stay out late, Jeff? And that's why you're not on camera? Oh, there you are. Look at you. All right. And Lisa, you going to join us by video or not? Probably, maybe not. You were out late. I wanted to just start because I don't feel like know before you go is always going to just be about construction and things. I like to think of it too as know before you go show properties, know before you are going to try to do a listing, and know things about the property, know things about the market that you should know before you go. And one thing I wanted to just take a look at here, everybody can see that on my screen, on your screen? Yes? All right. Do you guys ever look at the Market Watch? And go ahead and put your microphones on, because that way I know that you're hearing and we can just kind of have a discussion. So on the first page of RE Colorado, do you ever look at this Market Watch data?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I know you
Which
do.
is the
Jeff.
first time I've ever seen that page.
Really?
Yeah.
It's the very first page in Matrix. And you can, if the Market Watch is shrunk down like that, you won't see it. But if you open it up, then you can look at 24 hours back. You can look at today. You can look at what the market's done in the last 3 days. You can look at what the market's done in the last 7 days. And it gives you a good indication. So if you're going out to show properties this weekend and you look and say, wow, there's been 1,000 new listings come on the market, but there's also another 99 waiting to come on the market, there's a chance that a lot of those 99 homes are going to come on the market maybe today, because some agents play the game of, well, we'll bring it on Saturday, let's showing Saturday, Sunday, and want offers Monday, because now we're back into that kind of a hot market. So you might want to make sure you check out those and see what's going on. Also, if you're working with buyers, make sure you check out back on the markets, because some back on the markets have been on the, maybe they've been under contract 2 or 3 times. And it's not always because the house is a mess. Sometimes the house is just the buyers back out because they can't get financing. They get cold feet. Because now that we're back into kind of an upturn in the market, we're seeing people that go, "Ooh, we just paid $40,000 over list. We don't really want the house. We don't want to feel like we're being taken advantage of." And so it's a good idea to make sure you check out the market, and then that way too, the market as you go out to show your buyers. So you go, well, this last week we've had about 1,300 new listings. But we also had over 1,300 go under contract in the same amount of time. And that gives you a good perspective before you go out. Every Monday morning, I teach a little class at our office. It's not a class, it's called Coffee Talk. And we just talk about things and what the market's doing and inspirational things. And something I always do is every Monday morning, I go and search. And I go, for the last 6 years, I've gone and searched how many houses are on the market within 20 miles of downtown Denver. So I just simply go to the map, and you can take this little circle, and this is downtown Denver, and I just draw a 20-mile diameter out. And I've just kept track of this. Like I said, I guess it's going on 7 years that I've done this. So right now there's 2,321 houses on the market. We were as low last January. We got down to just almost under 700 houses on the market a year ago. So we have 3 times as much inventory as we did last year. And a lot of people are crying, well, the markets, we don't have any houses to sell. That's not true. We do. But I have kept track of active and pending. And then I also keep track of how many condos, multifamily townhomes, I group those together. And I just want to know that information so that when I'm out showing, I can see what's happening in the market and kind of look through if I'm going to go show in a certain area. So yesterday I had a brand new veteran that I took him out to see one house 2 nights ago that was up in Frederick, and it was not a bad home, but it was priced at $550, and it was a 2-year-old. And for lack of a better word, I would call it a prefab home. It was very generic. It had very high ceilings, had an unfinished basement, which they liked, and a 3-car, but it looked like a mobile home that was, built in a shop, basically. And then I took him out yesterday to some new homes. I got a hold of a sales rep that I know with D.R. Horton out in Aurora, and I found a couple houses up in Brighton, and she can help with any subdivision. And I built a really good relationship with this lady. And now I've sold, I think this is the 7th house I've sold of D.R. Horton within the last 18 months. And she's helped me with all of them because I can reach out to her. I know she's going to be there. And she came up and drove up to Brighton yesterday. And these kids were not even thinking of necessarily getting a brand new house. But the key thing is yesterday was what? It was the last day of the quarter.
Mhm.
Okay. Builders want inventory gone the last day of the quarter, and they want it gone the second quarter, the third quarter, and they really want it gone before the end of the year. So if you can go out to some of these builders and try to build up a relationship with some of these salespeople and find out what do they have out there on the market that they want to get sold. And you can try to, find a buyer that it may work out for perfectly. My people ended up getting a refrigerator and a washer and a dryer and also blinds because they wanted this house gone. It was the last ranch style house. And they brought it down. It was probably a drop down about 20,000 since the beginning of the month. And then they also offered special financing. They offered 5.5% for a VA loan versus right now it's around 5 3/4 or a little more. And they also gave them $8,000 in closing costs.
Huh?
So, right. And guess what? Another reason I really like D.R. Horton, they pay 3% on the purchase price, the full purchase price. Now, I'm not just touting D.R. Horton to get you guys out there to think you need to go sell D.R. Horton homes, but I happen to feel and believe that they make a pretty darn good house for a tract home, and they pay us for it. I could have gone around the corner and gone to Lennar, and I showed them Lennar's before on the internet, and they just didn't care for the houses. But Lennar's also only pays us 1% on the base price. So there's a difference. And I mention those things to people that, I'm trying to work for you. I want to make sure that you feel comfortable that we're looking at houses that will suit your needs. But I also try to get paid a fair amount for what I'm doing and driving people around and showing them houses. So ultimately, sometimes they want a Lennar home, and that's what you sell them. But when you have a sales rep that is on your side and can really explain things, that's knowing before you go out to show guys that you have a very good chance of getting something accomplished. Okay. And the sales rep she's been really, really key to work with, and she's just really good with people. And it's just kind of blossomed over the last 2 years that we've built that relationship. I've sold 4 houses last year out in out towards Watkins, in their subdivision, and I sold a couple this last year and this year in 470 and I-70 in an area called Harmony. Jeff, you went out there with us, didn't you, for that luncheon?
Yeah, twice actually.
Yeah. And she was there and talked about homes, and I'll tell you, and I just sold a veteran a month ago, one of those homes out there. They had just reduced the price from $650 down to $590, and they gave them appliances, and they gave them $6,000 in closing costs. So, you know, builders are still, they're a little bit behind the ball because they were struggling with dirt starts, and they kind of stopped while the market was a little slower in the wintertime. And now they're picking back up, but now they're kind of behind the 8 ball, and they want to get places going, and they want to get them sold. So, you know, you're going to find that you can get your buyers some good deals. And this house is already finished that I showed them. We're going to close. We could close in a week if we were ready. They want to close the first week of May, because then they don't have a house payment till the 1st of July, which works perfect for their rental downtown. Plus, they're going from a rental downtown of $3,500 a month, and their house payment's going to be $38,000. So it's a good deal for them. They're going to have a tax write-off, and they're going from 1,200 square feet to 1,900 square foot ranch with a 3-car. So I just wanted to bring that up out there, guys. And you want to go around to different builders too and find out, you know, who you like, who you feel comfortable with, who looks like they make a decent home. I'm going to be totally candid with you and tell you, I don't show KB homes. I don't show LGI homes. I try to stay away from Century homes, because the homes that I've seen and looked at and unfortunately dealt with sometimes have been poor at best. And I don't know if any of you realize this, but KB Homes years ago used to be called Kaufman and Broad. And Kaufman and Broad was formed in California, and it was the most sued builder ever in California history of builders. Then they had problems. They reformatted and became K&B Homes. And then they had some more problems. And then now they are KB Homes. I still don't think they make a very good home. The quality is suffering. And if you talk to people who've lived in them, most of them have had pretty bad issues with them. So that's just something I do. So that kind of brings up a statement that I thought of this morning. I don't, maybe you've heard the saying, know where you stand, or where you stand depends on where you sit. And I've kind of, you know, over the years of being in this business over 30 years, I've decided that I'm not going to necessarily, I'm not here to sell homes. I'm here to build relationships, and then find people houses that they like and they want to have their family in. So we tend to, you know, form judgments of things from our perspective in life. And I think that sometimes we kind of forget about that. We have to also look at what other people think and feel about things to make sure that we're being open and honest about what they're looking for, and that we're providing the service that we should, and not just being one-sided and feeling like, you know, we're always right because we're the realtor. We're not always right. We have to listen. And so, you know, I've kind of made my decision in my career. I'm not going to sell homes that, or even go try to show homes, because I will tell people definitively at my buyer's consultation, I don't sell new KB homes. I don't sell Century homes, and I do not sell LGI homes, which I think are as bad or worse than KB homes. That's just the way it is. I hope I haven't offended anybody. But that's kind of where I start with people, and they, I think, appreciate that and understand that I'm not just there to sell them a house, because that's not what I do. And I think it's helped me in my career to build good relationships with people, and to be totally honest about things right up front. So there we go. Any questions on any of this I've talked about? Or any comments you want to make, or Anything, because I'm more than happy to talk to you. Nope, nope. Jeff, nothing. Lisa, nothing.
Just out of curiosity, do you sell a used KB home versus, I know a new
I
KB
will
home?
look at a KB home that's been around a while. Yes.
Okay,
In fact, I sold Kaufman and Broad when they first came here 25 years ago, and they were good homes back then. They dramatically reduced in quality about 20 years ago. And then when they started having all their issues, they really started to suffer. So, but I will, I don't like to sell them when they're new because I don't know what they've done and how they built the foundation and everything. So you see those problems when a house is 20 years old and you can stay away, or you can say, hey, you know, house is held up. They may not have the best quality windows. They may not have the best quality flooring and all those things, but at least you can see it and see what's happened to the home over a period of time. Okay.
Mhm.
So next, let's talk about, let's do this. I had a house listed last week, and we had an inspection, and I was a little bit concerned when I listed the house that there was something in the basement that I wasn't sure about, and I had sent a picture to my plumber, and he said, yeah, it's kind of a big offset. I'm trying to find the photo real quick, and hopefully I will here. Let me type in something here real quick. 7966. Go. This is the house. And there was this offset in the clean out, this right here. This is the sewer going down to the basement to go out to the sewer line. And there's quite an offset here that's just a piece of rubber that they put around the pipes to try to make them meet together. And sure enough, when they had their inspection, their inspector called it out, rightfully so. And you wouldn't think that this would cost much to fix, but that's about a $500 job. And what the plumber would have to do is cut off the pipe probably here, put in a couple of 22-degree angle pipes so that it would come together and fit, so it goes straight down in. Because what can happen here is as sewage goes down, it can kind of get hung up here and it can start building up, and then it could become an issue where it backs up somewhat. And even if you go in to clean it some, it might not clean well. So it ended up the sellers are giving them a credit. Now, we also had the offer come in because it was multiple offers. They said they take the house totally as is, and the inspection would not, they didn't even say it would cover health or safety issues. They just said so would buy it as is. Well, then they still made this an issue on the inspection objection, which my people were like, well, I thought they were buying it as is. I said, well, that's what they told us, but you know, that's also maybe something that the builder would take care of for you, because they really probably should have not bought the house. And it was like this when they bought it. They said they brought it up to the builder said it's totally within compliance, which it's not. Any decent plumber, I think, would tell you that's not okay. So that brings up a point that I've talked with you before about this, Jeff. You need to get inspections. I don't care if it's a brand new house or if it's used. You need to have an inspection, because there are things wrong. I have never, ever had a house, I don't care brand new or what, that didn't have a problem when I had an inspection. In fact, I had 3 houses built by a company named Richmond Homes, and 3 houses in a row that I sold of theirs, they had not put insulation in part of the roof. Now, when you're doing a walkthrough with your buyer, who gets up in the attic and looks? They don't, you know, you look at you start putting blue tape on the walls because the paint and texturing and things like that, but you don't look up in the roof. You don't get on the roof. You assume that the roofing is done right. I've had builders that didn't apply the roofing correctly, got called out in the inspection. They had to fix it. I've had sewer lines scoped because this started about 8 years ago. I sold a new house and my people were having problems with the sewer line, and we found trash down there from the construction workers that was blocking it up. Somebody in our office, I can't remember who it was, they found a 2x4, a piece of 2x4 in the sewer line. Yeah, and it was clogging it up and breaking. We just there was another sales rep with D.R. Horton up in Berthoud that I actually sold a house up there. She was the sales rep. Then she decided to get into real estate a couple years ago, and I convinced her to come to our office, even though she's in Berthoud. And she just sold one of the houses up there yesterday that she sold to them. And when the buyers did their inspection and did the sewer line was broken. And it was leaking underneath the driveway because they didn't compact the soils correctly under the driveway, and it cracked the sewer line. And it had been probably cracked since it was built. So they had to replace that portion of the sewer line to the tune of about $5,000, which, you know, had they had an inspection, probably would have found that, and that would have been taken care of prior to closing. So it's an important thing to get an inspection. And I always, for my veterans, because I worked with quite a few, I always pay to get them an inspection. Okay. At least working with somebody who's just buying a new home and they're not a veteran, I convince them to allow me to at least pay for a sewer line inspection because it's that important. Or help them out with their inspection, whatever it might take. But I always make people get an inspection or pay for an inspection. It's a small price to pay. Just like the veterans I put under contract yesterday, it's $540,000 house times 3%, and I'm going to pay $400 to get them an inspection. It's better than a bucket of flowers at closing. So be mindful of that and know that all builders, some of them don't care. Now, some builders are really good about their inspection items. I've had builders that, and I can't think of who it is. I think it might be Toll Brothers. They take videos of their sewer line and give them to the buyer right before closing. So they actually perform it. And a lot of builders are also putting in radon mitigation. Now they don't put the fan in sometimes on the rooftop to pull it out, but they'll put in the plumbing in the middle of the house somewhere, like a pipe will go down in the foundation and come up through the rooftop. And you'll get what's called a passive radon mitigation system, because as the wind blows across that pipe, it'll draw the radon up out of the ground. Whereas you can also then put a fan on there for about $400, and then it's an active radon mitigation type system. But a lot of builders are putting those in. I would think someday that they will make builders put in active radon mitigation systems every house, which why not? I mean, it's cheaper to do it when you're building the house versus after the house has been built, and you got to drill a hole down in the foundation floor or whatever it is to get it vented correctly. So I think the state needs to kind of step in there and do something and get us going. So I got a little bit off this subject of the sewer line, but just know that when you see funny things like this, that's a little bit of a red flag, right? And you want to bring that out. And that's why inspections are important. I know that when I sent this photo to my inspector, he was like, oh yeah, we'd have called that out right away. And then I showed it to my plumber and he goes, yeah, that's not within reason. That's off. So be mindful to when you're looking around at homes with your buyers and new homes, look at those kind of things and bring it up even before you go to an inspection. Just ask them, hey, is that going to be taken care of? All right. Any questions on that portion? Nope.
No.
All right. Now, I thought I'd show you kind of a short version. Is everybody familiar with how you can clean a sewer line?
Yes.
Yeah, there's basically two ways. And it's become much more popular to have the lines hydrojetted than it is to have them cleaned with the old fashioned way, like a roto-rooter. Okay, and even roto-rooter has now changed. But this will give you a good demonstration because they're going to show you both ways with a plastic pipe. And you can actually see the difference of how like a conventional roto-rooter versus the hydrojetting is done. And it really does make quite a bit of a difference. So I'll just
Talk
play
about and answer
a
the
little bit of
question.
this.
What's the difference between snaking
Can you hear
and
that okay?
hydrojetting? That's right. So what we're going to do today is live here at our training facility is actually illustrate first the snaking method. So Juan, can we go ahead and show that to him, please?
We're ready.
So before we start, I want to show you exactly what we put into this line, which is paper products, roots, and sludge. Right, which are the most common causes of backups. All right, Juan, let's go ahead and put it into action. The end of the cable right now is currently, it's gone through the paper product and it's bounded up to the actual roots that are in the line. What's really cool is that cable slamming, breaking up that paper product in there. We're actually right here.
I think that gives you the idea. And then they're going to pull it out.
So
And
now,
you'll see that when it pulls out, it has quite a bit of stuff still in the pipe.
the actual stoppages, which is the roots. Oh, and let's see
So
what the
now
cable
we'll go
actually
forward to
retrieved.
the jetting, which is a much preferred way, I think, for most people now are cleaning them using the jets. Let's see, let's get a picture of it.
Compared to what the cable.
Well, it's a way to clean the pipe with the high pressurized water at about 4,000 psi. This particular one shoots 12 gallons a minute. This is called a laser penetrating tip, and it goes down the pipe. And we will start whenever you guys are ready.
So Juan, before we start though, as the tip's going down the pipe, is the water blasting in reverse or blasting forward?
There's one going forward,
Okay.
and there's multiple coming back,
Okay.
which propels it down the pipe and through the blockage.
Okay, perfect. For this demonstration, we went ahead and installed some regular toilet paper as well as roots. And downstream, just like we did the cabling, we added the sludge as well. So we just wanted to compare apples to apples so you can see the difference in the two different methods. Go ahead, Juan. Let's go ahead and fire that up.
Quite a bit of difference.
Wow. go slow. I want to show them.
So fast forward a little bit.
See, here's the head of it right here.
Much cleaner when it gets done, and that fire's out there so hard and fast, it'll cut through roots that are protruding into the pipe, and it really makes it clean.
Hydrogenating hose.
And the way that those jets are, this picture kind of,
I don't think she's feeling it right now.
I will be on my phone all week. Looks like somebody needs.
Hi, I'm Lou and I have a claw.
there's water spraying out of the
We'll
tip
try this button,
straight ahead, and then there's,
just not cutting it, so we're gonna
well,
switch
it's not going to show.
it
me
in,
this
which is
one.
a good sign that there
I'm not
is
gonna
actually.
do it. But anyway, there is water spraying out forward in the center, and then there's 6 or so spraying backwards. So as the jet cuts through all the stuff, it's pushing also backwards and bringing it up the line so it can get loosened up, and then they pull the line back out, then they put it back down so it washes everything down the line. As you can maybe see on, let's see, no, I don't want your picture.
Hey guys,
That's
I'm Bump, and
what it
today
looks
I'm going to
like.
be hydrojetting a sewer line for tree roots.
That isn't very good, but anyway, I want you to just know that there is a difference. So if you have a cellar that, and this picture right here, next to that one, that shows you how the spray is coming out straight and backwards. If you have a seller that needs to maybe have their line checked before you go on the market, that's something I take care of. I ask people, do you want me to pay to have the sewer line cleaned and checked? Or what would you like to do? Or do you want to wait for the buyers to maybe have an issue and they want you to get it cleaned? Whatever. I will show you one here that this was a house that I had, did put on the market after I went out to meet with the gentleman, and he told me that he had a company come out. Now, this is a little bit different, and this is something you want to be aware of. If a company cleans, or excuse me, scopes and also cleans and also repairs sewer lines, a lot of times there's companies out there that maybe aren't the most honest and upfront about things. So if they scope it and they say, oh yeah, you need to have your sewer line replaced, part of it or whatever, it's different than if you just have a company goes out and they look at it and give you their diagnostic expertise. So I happened to come across this company, Sewer Diagnostics, kind of by accident this last year, and they have been just fantastic. And what's been nice is they're a third party, so they don't repair, they don't do anything except give you what they see and let you know so that you can make an informed decision of maybe you better get somebody out there to look to do a repair, or you may have some issues that need repaired, or you may have some issues that need replaced. This sewer line, the company that talked to my client before I came out there told him that he needed to replace most of the sewer line for 20 some feet, and it was going to be at a cost of $14,000. And so I asked him, I said, did they show you a video? And he said, no, they just said that, yeah, it's bad. There was a big tree in their front yard. And I think you'll see the tree in this video. But he said, they told me that all those tree roots had destroyed the sewer line and that I was going to need a brand new sewer line. And so here's the video that the company, I said, well, I'm going to pay to have the sewer line company come out and just take a video for us, and then we'll make a determination of what we think we need to do. So this is quiet, but a good company will always show you the address they're at. And then this happens to have cleanouts outside. So they're going to take a picture of where they're at. Here's 17896. They're not just putting a scope down in the line, maybe down in the basement, and you have no idea what house they're at. Okay. And chances are if they show you a line that's deteriorated and there's no address or no information, they may have a video that they use for everybody. It's unreal to think that people would take advantage of others that way, but they do. So that they'll show the house where they're at. Now, this is the big tree I was talking about. The sewer line actually comes down and goes out at an angle out to the street. The other company told them that the sewer line went right under this tree. And the way we know that is they have a system called locating, because they can use GPS and locate where the camera is in the line, and it shows you that they can point out where the line goes. So this is the line that this other company, and let me show you this. Let me back that up just a tiny bit. Are you familiar with these pipes that are sometimes out in front of houses? These are sewer cleanouts.
Mhm.
In an older home like this would have had to have been installed, and they had it installed about 2 or 3 years ago. In brand new homes, they're doing this, and if you see those pipes out front, sometimes it's one pipe and it'll go down in the ground and it'll divert into the house and then out to the street, and sometimes they do it with 2 pipes. But in any case, this line went out to the street, and this is the line that he told my client that it was absolutely a disaster and would need to be replaced. And as you can see, we're 65 feet out. There's really nothing wrong. Coming backwards, I'll just let it run for a minute. Do you see any collapsed pipe?
Mhm.
No. 41 feet out would be about where that tree is. Now that you're going to see a tiny bit of offset there, which is not unusual, especially for a 50-year-old sewer line like this, but it's in pretty darn good shape. And then as you get closer to the house, then you start seeing the PVC pipe. So this line, they had told him that he was going to have to get replaced for 14 grand. How do you think he felt when I told him, sir, you don't have to do that. Here's a video and your line is fine, perfectly fine. So saved him 14 grand. Now, they did go in to the other clean out, which goes into the house, and it was kind of underwater. So it goes from outside the house into the crawl space, and there was quite a bit of water in the pipe. And so it had what they call a belly. It sagged. And so we got that fixed before we went on the market, and that was $880 versus $14,000. The other company didn't even say to them that this pipe had a belly in it and was sagging. So you'll see that the camera goes underwater there for a short distance. That was an easy repair. All that it took was the plumber to go down in the crawl space and put in new pipe and put in more what they call plumber's strap to hold the pipe so it didn't sag. And that's all it took. Okay. So that's one reason why I give a suggestion to people: get your sewer line looked at. Now, last year I sold a house, and Jeff and another agent in my office helped me with it. And it was a veteran, and I had sold him the house just a couple years prior, and we had the sewer line scoped, and it was in very good shape. Well, the buyers came along and they wanted to have the sewer line scoped. And lo and behold, there was this orange thing going through the sewer line out at the street area. It was actually right under the sidewalk. We were like, what is this? It just couldn't believe what we were seeing. And the guy who, the inspector, didn't know what it was. Well, I got my company out there, not Sewer Diagnostics, but I got the company who would actually do the repair. And we come to find out that when they had put in some cable, optic cable for the school next door, when they drilled the line, it went down and came through the sewer line. It somehow got diverted and went through the sewer pipe. So it bored like a 3-inch hole right through the sewer line. And fortunately, my sellers were able to locate who had done the work, and they were responsible to get it repaired. But it's again, that's even if you're working as a buyer's agent and the seller says, well, we just had it scoped, a year ago and it was fine, you still want to get it taken a look at. And like I said, the sewer diagnostics, they're third party. They don't care if you're going to fix it or not. All that they're going to do is give you a report. And it's a very succinct report. And it's nice because you can read through it and then also look at the scope. So let me just pull up one of them. Let's see. Sewer. Section. Viola. So here's what the report looks like. They tell you everything about it, the transition, what they saw, the main line. The line that also displays good pitch, graded, flow, intact, joints, etc. Recommendations: have the line replaced from 8 to 19 feet inside, remove the low point to restore proper flow. And then they give you what they call the locate. It shows you where it's at. And then the notes are more detailed. And then you can scroll down to the video right here. So it's very handy. You can send the report to the seller or the buyer, and they can look at everything and they can read about it. And it's very, very easy. So I have an inspection on Monday, and I told my people I want to pay to have the sewer line scoped. I have this company coming out so that we know when we get the inspection done, it's totally a third party. Now I could use the inspector who does it as well, but people don't tend to trust inspectors as much as they do professionals that this is all they do. This company, the only thing they do is inspect sewer lines and give you what they determine is an issue or not an issue. So it's somebody you may want to put into your file to have. They're located in Aurora. We've had the gentleman to our office numerous times just to talk, and I've just really been pleased with them and what a great job they do. And they really try to take care of you in a very, very close time frame of what you need. So let's see. I think that's it on sewers. Yes. Do you guys have Melissa or Deanna? Have you guys been in the business very long or not? No.
Just since the beginning of this year.
Okay, now another thing, just because you have a sewer line and you get those checked, you also want to get your septic lines checked. Very simple. They can go up there and look at them, and they can go into the septic line and go all the way into the septic tank and pretty much give you an indication of what's going on. So don't just think it's only for sewers. It is for septics too. And your people are gonna, especially if you have a buyer that, they don't have a lot of extra money or something, and you come along and find out, hey, there's a big problem. And the seller is just like, well, we've never had a problem in 30 years. Well, we've got a 30-year-old septic line, and there's a very good chance it's got a problem somewhere, right? So don't hesitate. Not that you have to pay for things. That's just something I like to do, because when I have a listing, I pay to have the roofing checked. I pay to have the sewer line checked. I pay to get it cleaned. I stage it. And I do things that I think could become an issue, possibly, that I want to thwart off, so that when I do have a listing, we can pretty much go from beginning to close without much in the way of hiccups. Because there's nothing worse than having an inspection go awry, and then it delays you a tremendous amount of time and you can't close on time or whatever that might be. One thing this time of year that does tend to come up is our good old friend, the hailstorms. It's hailstorms. I've actually had houses under contract where we were supposed to close, and 2 days later, the 2 days before closing, we had a hailstorm. And so what happens then?
How about the windstorm?
How about a windstorm like yesterday, right? Man.
At
that
a
was
house,
bad.
I had my personal house under contract when we had a hurricane.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had a couple of them that, right before closing. And so if you have a buyer under contract, you kind of want to keep track of what the weather is doing and build up a relationship with a roofing company. I've got a roofer that I've used for close to 30 years, and they've got pretty neat apps that will tell them when a storm is in certain areas. So I can call up my guy Ronnie and say, hey, Ronnie, was there a storm in this section of Aurora that could have had hail? And they can look it up and go, yes, there has been. And the seller should tell you that there was a storm and that they've had the roofing checked or they're going to have it. But you want to be proactive as a buyer's agent and just say, hey, let's get out there and have somebody take a quick peek at the roofing and make sure that there is no hail damage. And because the lender doesn't want that there to be any damage, they're going to own the house, and they don't want to own a house that has a bad roof. And a lot of times then if there is the need for the roofing to be replaced, then they'll have to hold off closing. Once in a while, according to what type of loan it is and how much money the buyer's putting down, sometimes the lender will allow them to escrow monies and have the roofing replaced after closing, but that's kind of rare. Most lenders want the roofing replaced before closing. So that can screw everything up, because now your buyers are moving out of their rental and they have nowhere to live and they can't close for a week and a half. Or if it's a major hailstorm like the one we had, I forget, like 6-7 years ago, where it just took out Wheat Ridge and parts of Arvada, it just annihilated, and it was months to get roofing replaced. So it's something to be very aware of for your buyers. And you want to contact the listing agent if you're working with the buyer and just say, hey, heard that there was a storm last night. Are your sellers looking into it? Can they get their insurance company out there to take a peek? Whatever. So you have to kind of play weatherman also when you're under contract. And if you have a listing, you have to do the same thing. You want to call up your sellers and say, hey, what's up? I did have a listing about 4 years ago that I had my roofer come over, and he certified the roofing that it was in good shape. And then my client wasn't living in the house. He was living with his girlfriend, so it was vacant. We got the house under contract right away, had the inspection, and the inspection, actually the buyer's agent called me up and said, hey, there's a problem with the roofing. It's got quite a bit of hail damage. And I was like, really? I had it certified. So I called up my roofer, and he looked on his app and he said, yep, there was a storm there about 3 or 4 nights ago. Let me run over and take a look. And sure enough, the roofing was annihilated. And no neighbors told my client or anything. So we ended up having to get new roofing prior to closing. Fortunately, it wasn't a big storm. There wasn't a lot of people that had to make claims. So my roofer was able to get it done in a matter of 3 or 4 days. So, but of course you have to get insurance out, see what they're going to cover, and so on and so forth. Having a great roofer can be a huge benefit to you, because they oftentimes know how to work with different insurance companies and get them to perform like they should to help people get their problems taken care of. And then sometimes you have insurance companies that drag their feet and make it almost impossible. So you want to, have those conversations when you list a property. who is your insurance company? Do you have a good insurance agent that is proactive should anything pop up? We learn a lot in our office. We happen to have an insurance broker in our office that he gives us a lot of good information, and we can call him up if we need to and ask him questions. So build up those relationships as well. That's kind of all I have. So I'm open to answering any questions you guys might have or anything that you would like to talk about. Nothing? Nothing. Do you have any questions on anything we covered? No?
No.
Did I do that good a job? Don't laugh at me, Jeff. That hurts. I hope you found that beneficial, you guys. I know that, there's so much to learn in this business, but, don't hesitate to reach out. I know Kevin is always available, and there's just always something to learn and go forward with as you get into this career. So best of luck to you. And if you want to take down my number, I'll give you my number. Jeff, I know you have it.
Yep.
And you can call me anytime if you have any questions on anything. It's 303-898-8638.
38. Thank you.
And text me. I'm in the office Monday through Saturday at 5:30, usually, always. Sunday, I usually take off, but not always. And I'll always try to answer you right away if I can. But I will get back to you the same day. Okay? Thank you very much for joining.
Appreciate it. Have a good day.
Have a great day.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. We'll see ya.
Right.
Bye-bye.